Yowza, yowza, yowza. You know, it's Monday, noon Eastern somewhere. And I gotta tell you, I feel very slow today, David. It must really be a long Monday. Anyways, everybody, welcome to the Rant Network. It's a go-to podcast, unfiltered, unapologetic discussion hosted by myself, Stuart Gal, and my cohort for nearly, going into 6 years coming up. As we tackle and dive into a wide range of topics, it's candid conversation, whether it's breaking down the latest headlines or talking about the complexities of modern life. This is the platform for every perspective. So grab a seat, settle in. Just make sure you're not in the range of Yemenite attack drone. Make sure you're not on a bus with a crazy psychopath. Make sure that you're not waiting at a bus stop where a psycho woman pulls out a knife, a butcher's knife, and tries to stab you, or gets shot up on a public bus. But ladies and gentlemen, it's all Israel's fault. And you know what? It's all Israel's to blame. Israel doesn't want peace. Israel is the one doing these heinous attacks. David, I am at my wit's end. I am so tired of the lack of left-leaning media covering anything at all. It's at the point of being just like Groundhog Day, hamster in a wheel, dog wagging its tail. I can go on and on and on and on. And we have in years past. But tell me what's different about today versus any other time in history.
Oh, well, Stuart, that is the question of the day. Nothing. Because to many people, a dead Jew is a good Jew. And that's the problem right now. And with Israel, using Israel as the whole thing, is like, no, we're not against Israel. We're just against Bibi. So what are you telling the people who've been shot up on a Jerusalem bus today? That because you hate Bibi, you have Bibi derangement syndrome, Bibi's always at fault. Israelis, innocent Israelis on a bus, on their way to work, home, family, this, that, get shot up, doesn't mean anything.
Nope.
That's what we're dealing with here.
Nope.
We're dealing with this attitude that anything that happens to an Israeli is not important. So, Stuart, I'll go a little bit wider than what you just said. Okay? In Spain, Israelis are not allowed to declare themselves because of security reasons. They're not going to be welcome in. You go to other places, they get the treatment worse than the Russians. Erase yourself. You're not welcome here. At least, when you look at the US Open, you had a Russian tennis player play. She couldn't use her flag. Okay. Daniil Medvedev, not Daniil, the men's side, you can't use the flag, but they're welcome. They're applauded. They're not calling for their death. This is where it's crossed the line. This is where it's crossed a very, very serious line. And more innocent people are going to get killed. Now, if you're going to tell me that no Jew or no Israeli is innocent, then fuck you. I wish you the same, peril. I'm sick and tired of this. Because you know what? It's amazing. When you watch the Sunday morning talking head shows, there is no conversation about Yemen firing drone after drone after drone into Israel. None. It's only Gaza. Israel is tearing apart Gaza, taking over Gaza City. There's no conversation about the remaining hostages that were over 700 days, Stuart. 700 days of hostages been taken, and there's no conversation about them. Oh, wait a minute. There's a riot in the streets against Bibi. Let's cover that. That's important. That Bibi is fucking Israel and the rest of the world. He's the demagogue. He's the Hitler. Let's go after him. Not the countless Israelis who are mourning their dead, their dead family members who they know are dead in Gaza, but are not allowed to have their bones back. Imagine the sanity of the group you're supporting that's holding on to dead body parts as a negotiation tool. This is what you're cheering on for. You're cheering for a crowd that this morning is elated that 6 innocent Israelis were killed on a Jerusalem bus. Hamas is giving them all high fives. This is the group you're cheering for. You're cheering for the group of people who will throw a gay person off a building, and yet Rainbow people, you still continue to think that that's who you're going to support. This is masked anti-Semitism in the 21st century. That's actually no longer masked. Stuart, I ranted on Friday while you were away about the conference in Detroit. Social media was the only one that really covered this conference and the depth of hate towards Jews, Israel, America, you name it. But it's going silent because a dead Jew is a good Jew. If the numbers are true, which they're not, but let's go and play for a second, that 60,000 died in this so-called Gaza war, and they're calling this a genocide, and Israel should be eliminated. What the hell are you supposed to tell Russia? What are you supposed to do with all the African nations? We've repeated again and again, but yet the world wants to focus on one thing: fry the Jews. Hitler didn't finish the job. That's what you hear again and again. This is the 21st century modern person. Stuart, I read a really scary article over the weekend that wokeism is dead, but what's emerged out post wokeism is even more frightening because hate, racism, and what you see towards Jews is okay. It's acceptable in modern society. This is the new left. This is the new tolerance. This is your media. This is these are your politicians. You talked to me in the green room about Mamdani. You talked to me about in the past about AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, that piece of shit. You do it on and on and on and on. But this is what we're tolerating. So this morning, as you wake up and you hear, over the weekend, this destruction in the Ukraine, the Russians attacking trains and doing all these things, and there's dead silence. And there's dead silence when there's like, what is gone wrong, Stuart? I think we've gone so far off the rails.
David, I call it Groundhog Day. I call it the hamster in a wheel. I call it gross ignorance. I'm tired of listening to people constantly come back and say, but the Israelis are the imperialist people, that the Israelis are the ones that caused this incursion. And everyone seems to have quick amnesia about who started this and why did it start. People don't understand that these people that call themselves Palestinians come from Syria and Jordan. They're not even native to this land. And you know what? When they talk about, well, they lived there. Well, Jews have lived in Judea and Samaria since the beginning of time, whether you're going into the Christian time, Judea time, or even Muslim time. And you know what? I saw recently another post on Instagram, and not that I'm a troll on that, but they were showing pictures of what women looked like in the 1960s. No. And they scrolled to Yemen, they scrolled to all these. Okay. I'm sure many of you have seen this. You know what I would like to ask our audience? I'd really, really like to ask, what positive, or we'll start with your phrases, what positive things have the Muslim faith brought to the modern era? What has anyone from the Intifada group brought positive to the world? Tell me one thing that they've brought to the world that has made it a better place, whether scientifically, morally, ecologically, in any forum. What have they done? Why do they want to represent these people? Why do the Democrat Party why does the left want to? It is literally something that I can no longer explain. I can't even have a conversation with people that remotely even start these conversations with me any longer. David, I am that frustrated, that tired, that over it. I see you're looking down. What did you
tell you why I'm looking up? Because I'm going to tell you something. The reaction right now that you're seeing from people is absolutely incredible, because it's not like we're stopping these people. We're just creating different ways of handling it. Texas announced that they want to ban Sharia law. And this is and I'm looking because since 2014, Alabama, Arizona, Kansas, Louisiana, North Carolina, South Dakota, and Tennessee have also prohibited their courts from considering foreign, international religious law, but they're basically banning Sharia law. Same thing happening in the province of Ontario. And what you see, Stuart, is politicians kind of now like dipping a toe to say, oh, if we ban this will go away.
Yeah.
It ain't going away. You've educated a group of people in universities to say that killing Jews, banning Jews, beating Jews is okay. You've educated them. So what is banning Sharia law going to do? You've taught in liberal media, you absolutely distort the truth by claiming, and I go back to that 60,000, that you don't even bother to say that this is Hamas's numbers. Like, you don't even bother with that anymore, because you know what? It's not good enough. It doesn't paint Israel in a bad picture. But I'm still trying to understand how killing or beating a Jew in the United States helps Palestinians. Is it really that? Is this what you're going for? Because it doesn't work. It isn't working. It's just your new form of anti-Semitism. So
Well,
today you're giving high fives to these two assassins in Jerusalem because they did the job that you want to be done.
It's kind of funny. The one country in Europe that wants to broadly ban Sharia law is the Polish legal system.
Yeah,
Kind of crazy if you think about it.
but
That
here,
was
but again, banning that. Look, Stuart, it's really not that. To me, it's a problem. And it's thanks you. I mean, yeah, we can thank the Democrats, we can thank these lefties, and we can thank all that we're letting in any immigrant who wants to come in here without the provision is that you uphold our society or we're throwing you out. Because we've let them all in unvetted, and it doesn't make a difference. Trudeau did it here. You had Biden do it here with his open border policy. You've got a lot of these problems that you continue to have because you let in these people who just, like, they're going in saying, I know that the people on the left are going to protect me. All right. When you think about the people who are screaming on campuses, death to Israel, death to Jews, and you're saying, oh no, free speech. It's not free speech. You know it's not free speech, but you're wrapping yourself around the victim again. I'm sick and tired of a Brit or a French person saying that Jews are colonizers. Fuck you. What do you think your history is? You're trying to teach me how to be what it is? Give up your land, you piece of shit. Stop telling me how to act. Same thing in Canada, the United States. If you're so fucking high and mighty, give up your land. Give it back to the indigenous of your population, but you won't. It's just easier to point the finger at the Jew and say the Jew is wrong. The Jew is always wrong. Stuart, in history, that's all you hear from the right, the left, the middle. It doesn't matter. The Jew is wrong, and a good Jew is a dead Jew. This is all you hear. So, like I said, this morning, this afternoon, as you're watching this episode of The Rant, and you hear the story, maybe in what happens in Jerusalem, and maybe you hear of other things that go on in Israel and in other places. It doesn't matter. Stuart, did anybody report about what happened in Australia about, burning down or trying to burn down one of the oldest synagogues in Australia? Of course not. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that French Jews live in fear. It doesn't matter that in Montreal and Toronto, the mayors of the city are lauding and giving, allowing these protesters to do whatever the hell they want and hurts people along the way, stopping ambulances from getting to hospitals. This is going to help the Palestinian cause. Oh, for crying out loud. Have we completely lost our minds?
No, I'm not going to answer that question, David, but you know what I am going to do? I'm going to tell you it's just sad.
No, but I know you want to hit the button, and I know you want to play the music because you've run out of things to say. But that's the problem, Stuart. It's not that we've run out of things to say. We have to stop this business of stopping to talk. I got to tell you, every influencer says the same thing. One more person we can educate on how stupid these people are and what direction we've gone in. I'm not here to say, look, in Britain, we saw this hard right-wing group protest against these Palestinians. And a lot of people said, that's scary because they're anti-immigration and we can't be that radical. But I'm sorry. I think at this point right now, you know what? Enough with the softy part. It's time to beat down the people who are beating me down, who are beating you down, who are telling you you don't have a right to be here. When an immigrant comes to me and tells me, fuck you, go back to Poland. In my mind, you should be on the next plane out of here. Gone. But this is the problem. Your media, my media, your government, my government, your lefties, my lefties, your morons, my morons, your useful idiots, my useful idiots continue to push the same narrative, all in the name of get rid of the Jew. Man, it's sickening.
Well, that brings this podcast to an end. Thank you for sharing, and we love to hear your support. PM us. Yes, we read all those comments and those private messages. We're here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, noon Eastern. Let me tell you something. Wednesday should be an interesting hunt. Guys, be safe, be thrilled, be safe. We love